Coming up on Mountain News this morning, a man has been charged with the murder and tampering with evidence in Breathitt County. And a Richmond homeless shelter is doing everything they can to stay open longer than usual.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Chas Gayhart. It is 6 o'clock on Tuesday, January 9th, and we're going to check in with Tim Drawbridge on a rainy day.
Rainy day, rainy evening, or last night into this morning. The live view from outside our studios in Hazard. You can see with the street lighting, the rain continues. It's been heavy at times already, and this is going to be the way most of the day ends up playing out. First half of the day. We'll try to improve things this afternoon. Wind advisory, that is posted for most of eastern Kentucky, now lasting through tonight into tomorrow morning. The pinpoint Doppler radar been very active this morning. Again, a light to at times moderate rain, heavier now again as you make way back toward Pulaski County, up toward Casey County, out toward Adair County. Again, all this tracking to the east and the northeast, and we've got a soggy start to our Tuesday, a cold start to Wednesday, not wet. For some of us, let's put it this way, for all of us, flurries and snow showers, but some of us could see a coating upwards of an inch overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. In the meantime, the planner for your Tuesday, periods of rain, some of the rain heavy at times, windy, and with some brightening this afternoon, highs into the low and mid-50s. Another system later this week. Is that wet or white? We'll let you know. The first alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Right now, back to the news desk with Chaz.
Thank you, Tim. A Breathitt County man has been charged with murder in connection to the disappearance of Joni Campbell. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox gives us the latest on the investigation.
Police say the missing persons case led them to property connected to Fairleigh Napier.
State police received a complaint or a tip that a burnt vehicle had been located on the Spicewood Road in the South Fork community of Breathitt County.
When they arrived, troopers say they found human remains.
Detectives were called in to complete the investigation. Through the course of their investigation, it was determined that that property was actually being logged by Fairleigh Napier. So that led us to conduct interviews with him.
Napier was then charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence.
The investigation and just interviews with Mr. Napier itself give detectives probable cause to go ahead and make the arrest.
As for the victim, the arrest citation stated the car matched the description of Joni Campbell's car. Napier was reportedly the last person who saw Campbell. Gayhart says while evidence points to the victim being Joni Campbell, police do not have 100% identification.
Yeah, we're just going to continue the missing persons case as well because at this point, positive identification has not been made.
Gayhart says the remains were sent to Frankfort for an autopsy. In Hazard, Channel Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
There's not a timeline on when an autopsy report for the victim will be finalized. Fairleigh Napier is now lodged at the Kentucky River Regional Jail. Some homeowners in Richmond are still repairing damages from storms that hit the area nearly 6 months ago. And with that potential for more storms this week, they'll have to rely on temporary repairs to get them through. Grayson Passmore spoke to a homeowner who is finally seeing progress being made at home.
It looked like a complete massacre through the neighborhood. It was tore up worse than I can imagine.
Nearly 6 months ago, severe storms ripped through many parts of Richmond, from downed trees and limbs to hail and wind damage to cars and homes. Now many, like Paul Proctor here, are still cleaning up the mess. But for some of his neighbors, the work to their homes may not be done before this next round of potentially high winds.
Right now, they're just finishing up the vinyl. They'll be putting gutters on, and we've already done the roof.
Proctor says the only feeling he can muster now is just one of pure relief. Like many of his neighbors in the Hampton Ridge area, they joined a long list of homes that needed repairs. Some are still having to make do with their temporary repairs for now, but with an anticipated storm system rumbling through the region this week, Dwayne Davidson with AOK Roofing and Exterior says there are some easy steps any homeowner can do now to prepare.
If you have any tree limbs that are close to your house that are overhanging your house, your roof, you want to make sure those are trimmed back away from the house. That way, if they are blown off, they don't blow on your house and at least land maybe in your yard.
Davidson says also check to see if you have any loose shutters, gutters, or siding. And if they are, you want to make sure those are secured now rather than finding out that they weren't later.
It's been a long ordeal, but I'm glad to see it's finally getting done.
In Richmond, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
For Kentucky's homeless population, bitterly cold days can be challenging. Jamie Jordan of the Madison House in Richmond says they tend to see numbers pick up as the winter days become more numbered. Madison Home is extending their daily winter operations from the typical March 15th to March 30th.
Our winter does not stop in Kentucky when we would like it to. We have found that even last year we were going a couple of more weeks on an emergency basis. And so this year we made a different decision. And we said, let's just go ahead and plan on going through March 30th. We're probably going to do it anyway. Better to go in with some advance notice.
As an organization rooted in faith, Jordan says the Madison House is a testament to what happens when the community rallies behind those in need.
Tuesday, indeed, dealing with some heavier periods of rain moving across the region. Some of the heaviest that we've seen in the last few hours, now located across southern portions of West Virginia into southwestern Virginia. We look up toward Lexington and Moorhead. Things have kind of eased up along the I-64 corridor, whereas we look back west-southwest from Hazard over to London, Barberville to Williamsburg, more so Robbins over in the Tennessee side of the border toward Monticello, Somerset, and Waynesburg. This is where we're finding some of the heavier bursts of rain. And again, this will continue to track toward us over the next hour. So here's the next 12 hours as we head through this morning. It's going to be soggy, wet, and windy as temps continue to rise into the 50s. We'll get us some brightening this afternoon as the showers wind down and get into the low and mid 50s for an afternoon high. Big question is, cold air comes in tonight. What does that mean for tomorrow morning? You may need a few extra minutes tomorrow morning. All the details with the First Alert 7-day forecast coming up in a few moments. Jazz?
Thanks, Tim. And thank you for joining Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. When we return, officials across the state are trying to find out what exactly went wrong on the Alaska Airlines plane that lost a door plug mid-flight.